Generally, our mind is, most of the people's mind is unchaste. It does not think of Krishna. It is inclined to spray ourselves and any object that falls into our field of vision immediately. It becomes very seduced to all the things that happens around. That's how our mind is focused. Krishna is somewhere in spiritual world, but things around are so much attracting our attention. Now, it is very easy to seduce the mind. It is because we get affected by the things around. And suddenly, some news comes and everybody is discussing Chandrayaan 3, and we also feel tempted to let me also go and see that. Or we are hearing about some other news are coming or whatever things around us. And we just need to show us something and something, no matter it is like Parikshit Maharaj was unique. This is the very important thing. And the mind gains the ability to focus on Krishna. This is what happened to Parikshit Maharaj. And the subsequent verses we can see. This is very difficult for an ordinary person. The usual thing when we think about everything in order to this change to come, this nature of man to occur, it is very difficult. The the change in the direction of our mind. Now we cannot use some cosmetic products to change ourselves, especially for mind. We really need, it is not just some radical change in the nature, that means in the ego, in the self. Now there are certain conditions to be met for. What is the conditions that mentioned here? We have to go through parampara. If a person is connected to parampara, if the ego is changed, then it is possible for us to do it. Then there are two types of paramparas. One is parampara from the family, our family tradition, and another parampara is from the person who is giving us knowledge. Now, parampara does not mean that it is just uh, we are born. It means the transmission of certain knowledge and certain values. So that need to be understood. And then there is parampara of family. The tradition is if a father is a drunkard, grandfather is also drunkard, and great grandfather equally. Then what happens is this valuable tradition passes. Then the son, grandson will also be turned out like that. And but the point is the nature of man can be changed even though he was born in such a parampara. And this is actually when they talk that the man is uh, like in astrology they say that I have Mars in 13th house. Of course, we have 12 houses or somewhere else. So how does it matter? That means all the stars are affected and badly affected. So all the karmic influence that we have, a person is affected by it. But we can completely overcome if we have two conditions that are mentioned. What is that? That we ourselves are desiring to change. That is the first condition. And even if I have some Mars influence or this influence, it does not matter. All the stars, even though they are very badly affected, it does not matter. But if I have a desire to change, then that is the first thing that and and second is that we are surrendering to an acharya, a guru. This is what Parikshit Maharaj is doing. Now Maharaj Parikshit asked Sukadeva Goswami, what should a dying person do? a person who is in the process of dying. Mriyamanasya. Now, Sudhir Goswami tells it is clear. He says, Shrotavya kirtitavyasya smartavya ichita abhayam. To get rid of fear, you just need to listen. You need to talk or you need to remember Krishna. Simple thing. This is the advice I give. Now, a simple question, simple answer. Now, what should a dying person do? He should concentrate his mind. Now, after this, the natural question arises, oh, but the problem is I have so many other goals. Now, we also heard it, but it is not making much change because we have so many other goals. If I want something, then naturally Sudeva Goswami says, okay, if you have something else, Akama Sarva Kamava, this is the third chapter. Akama Sarva Kamava Mokshakam Udharadi. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Ejeta Purushapram. Whatever you think of God. Whatever you want to do, any desire is, do with Krishna only. And if you want moksha, if you want anything, he gives a universal. Now, Sukadeva Goswami said this, and Sutta Goswami told that this to Saunakadrishis. Saunakadrishis, I understand everything, but he was very curious to explain Sutta Goswami how he understood everything. That's why he repeats it. He says that, okay, Ayur Harati Vai Pumsam and all. And then he asked Sutta Goswami, we want to hear how Sukadeva Goswami explained Bhagavatam. Uh, this is uh, this is actually what happened. That I understand everything. Is very curious to explain Sukadeva Goswami how he understood everything. We are here with something like an uh, exam, and Sutta Goswami, uh, Sonaka Rishi passed the exam. They they asked the relevant question. And Sankar said, I understand everything, whatever is said. What is started. Now he says that that I understood that this head, if it is not going to the Lord, what happens? If the hands are not serving the Lord, what are they compared to? If the legs are not going to the temple, what they are compared to? If the ears are not hearing, and all these things he nicely explains. And my eyes are like peacock looms only. Now I understood everything, how to concentrate my consciousness. Now I have to think about Krishna. For this, everything else is also he is one way or another is connected to Krishna. Now I must do these things. One can say that there are many. If a stomach it is in prasadam and not prasadam, what will happen? Everything is there. Now, now everything must also be occupied in a way or another to Krishna. I must do all this. Um, Now, Savanakarashi says, I understood everything, what you say. You have to do sadhana. This is the first and most important thing. You all need to understand that what important is the sadhana. If we are serious about Krishna consciousness, we are serious about sadhana. That is the only criteria. That's all. If somebody is not serious in sadhana, means is not serious in Krishna consciousness. There is no other way to become Krishna conscious. So he says, okay, I'll do sadhana. We must direct all our energy, all our abilities to do sadhana. Then the mind will gradually go to Krishna. That is the process. Then he says that, then he says before, uh, yeah, Savanakarashi, he explains this is because we remember the second canto is about sadhana tattva. That is why this is very important. Sadhana for what? Sadhana so that our mind goes to Krishna. So whole second canto, we should improve our sadhana slowly, slowly by understanding second canto because it is teaching. If you see, first two chapters are teaching how to meditate on the Lord. How to meditate? Okay, you are not able to meditate, at least whatever you are seeing around. This is a universal form of Lord only. You meditate in the Lord by seeing everything around you, how they are connected to Krishna. and then you can get a next level of realization that Lord is within your heart, He is guiding. Anything you are doing, He is ready to guide you. So this is the second level. Like that, we can understand how this is the how the meditation is started. And then the third chapter where he says, okay, so many other demigods, this, that, so many other desires I have. Don't go to anyone, even if they can fulfill so many big, big desires, but only one person we need to go. That is Krishna. And then Saunakadrishis, they explain, yes, we understood everything. Even our body, if it is not engaged in Krishna, it's all waste of time. And he explained whole sadhana, then and he understood everything. And he says, I must chant the holy name. That is the most important thing. To remember Krishna, I just have to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Now, Prabhupada said a parrot can also say Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. You can teach a parrot, you will also certainly receive great benediction. Uh, but more important is to be conscious to concentrate. That is more important. I must understand who Krishna is. I must pronounce it in a certain mood. That is very important for us. Mission. There is so many people chant that people have name of Krishna. Why they don't get so much benefit? They get some benefit. Why they don't get complete benefit is they don't know who is Krishna. They don't know with what mood to chant Krishna. That is the problem. Now, if I understand how to concentrate, what mood, and this is what is the fourth chapter. That means we have to hear about Krishna from our spiritual master. I must let my teacher to convey the mood and make my deprived heart very chaste. My heart or mind, which is ready to exchange itself for anything. It will get distracted or it will get seduced by any of these things in this material world. I must make it very chaste. So that is the procedure. That is what is fourth chapter is about. And now here, now this is very the this chapter is very parampara is explained. Sonaka Sutta Goswami, what happened next? He tells Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami are talking about it. Because Sutta Goswami directly did not, he just quotes what he is hearing. So Sutta says, just the same question as you asked me, the question was asked by Parikshit Maharaj to Sukadeva Goswami. This is what is happening. I am just repeating their conversation. This is what is parampara system. And Sudha Goswami asked questions the same, and he says, "How could?" Uh, he wanted to know. Here we are seeing the questions. We'll just go through the translations. What is happening from the beginning? Here, first is Sudha Goswami said, Maharaj Parikshit, the son of Uttara, after hearing the speeches of Sukadeva Goswami, which are all about truth of itself, applied his concentration faithfully upon Lord Krishna. And this is Maharaj Parikshit, as a result of his wholehearted attraction for Lord Krishna, was able to give up all deep-rooted affection for his family, personal body, his wife. This is actually what is concentration we discussed. Atmajaya Sutagara Pashu Dravina Mandushu Rajya Virudha Mamatam Jihu. These are actually very difficult to give up. But because Maharaj Parikshit was able to concentrate on Krishna, he was very chaste in his mind. That's why he is able to give it up. He did not get distracted. It is so easy to get distracted. Even if you get a message or a phone call that no, some of your very close people or family, anybody health is bad, immediately it creates some concern, some sort of uneasiness comes in the mind because the mind get distracted very fast. It cannot focus. If about some cheating with money and ill health of any negative news immediately affects and positive also. They said, okay, your land which you purchased there, no, because of some project of the government, it became 10 times more. Immediately it affects. We cannot concentrate on the holy name. But it didn't happen for Maharaj Parikshit, even though he got a news that he is only going to die. This is what is how the mind was focused. He could his body, wife, children, palace, animals, horses, elephants, treasury house, friends, relatives, and undisputed kingdom. Nothing distracted his mind. And then we see great sages, the great soul Maharaj Parikshit constantly wrapped in thoughts of Lord Krishna, knowing well of his imminent death, renounced all sorts of routine activities, namely acts of religion, economic development, and sense gratification, dharma, artha, kama, and thus fixed himself firmly in his natural love for Krishna and asked all these questions exactly as you are asking me. He asked whatever he asked, Parikshit Maharaj also. So this is what is parampara system. And now this is a very important purport how eager one need to be. So Prabhupada is trying to explain. This is a very nice purport. You can again read for yourself. And next purport is also now this is the question start. Now interesting Maharaj Parikshit is not asking directly, tell me some Krishna Leela. No, he wanted to know Shrishti Leela of the Lord. He says, Oh Lord Mama, you know everything because you are without material contamination. Therefore, whatever you spoke to me appears perfectly right. Your speeches are gradually destroying the darkness of my ignorance by narrating the topics of the Lord. And then he says, this is the verse we discussed. I beg to know from you how the personality of Godhead by his personal energies created this phenomenal universe as they are, which are inconceivable even to the great demigods. You want to know about the creation only. And Prabhupada writes also here that we need to first learn about how everything is created by the Lord before knowing his personal pastimes. And this is also very big purport. Now here onwards, now he is asking further about the Leelas of the Lord. Now here, same thing. If we see when Sukadeva Goswami asked Parikshit Maharaj asked Sukadeva Goswami, what Sukadeva Goswami does? He refers to Narada. He says Narada asked the same question to Brahma, like that. And Brahma, please tell me how this world was created. Brahma says, oh, exactly same question was asked by me to Krishna. So this is how the parampara system. And now who starts? Then Krishna only. How Krishna created because that is his Leela. And Sukadeva Goswami heard the question how exactly and he asked. Now the second canto, the whole remainder of this is the answer to exact question that somebody asked someone and he says somebody else asked somebody like that. This Kumaras to Brahma and so many things. Kumaras asked Narayana and how exactly it is created. And ultimately only one person is the Guru. Krishna Mande Jagadguru. He is only answering all questions. And because this knowledge will ultimately help us to fully focus our mind on Krishna. Understanding that Krishna is his role is now that the world that we see in front of us is Leela of Krishna. This is his creation and how he plays and everything. Now, and he has given this knowledge and to all the living entities. And we have to, I have to get this knowledge in the heart. It is not a question of some information. We are discussing that why people like Google because it is very easy to gain knowledge without working hard. But previously, Vedic knowledge was completely different. You need to work hard to gain knowledge. Knowledge means there is labor, there is humility. Then there is a knowledge that transforms the heart. There is a realized knowledge. That is the difference. Now just go to Google and just search anything. Now there are Vedic secret mantras. And unless Guru feels that you are sufficiently qualified, he will never give that mantra. He will make sure that you are working very hard, you are developing humility, you are serving properly in the ashram for many, many years, and he is sufficiently satisfied with all your qualities. Then he will give that secret mantra. Now you can go to Google, search secret Vedic mantras. The more secret, the more it is available there. Now people get that information, but it does not help them to focus on Krishna. It does not help them to get any realization because it remains as an information only. This is the very great difference between people who know now and who are knowing in the previous ages. Previous ages, people were knowing, now also people know, but here only information. There is a transition. They know the purpose of what it is and they can properly utilize it. And if a mind is very focused, concentrated, they can gain knowledge. That is the way to gain knowledge. Now, if you like, they are talking about this Konark Chakra, the status I was seeing. I didn't see, don't see news, but I saw people are saying, oh, they are talking about Konark Chakra because that's where the prime minister met with other countries heads. Now, now, what is this? They are telling that about the time it is mentioned, there are 12 months in a year and 24 hours in a day, and all these things they are given. Now, how did they calculate? They didn't had any modern technology, they didn't had any watch, they didn't had any of these things. But how could they see that where is this planet? And no, they are telling, okay, this planet is an astrology. They tell this planet is in this house now. That moon is actually in this. There are all these nakshatras, and presently the moon is in this nakshatra. Now, how can they see and tell? You don't have telescope to measure and not tell that this is in this constellation and these are this. How are they able to tell? Because their mind is so much focused, it is so much concentrated, pure, they can gain knowledge, they can get the access of all this knowledge without any modern gadgets. This is the difference. They don't need any modern gadgets for this knowledge. This knowledge, this is what is happens when a person performs tapasya. It's not some mechanical information. It's a question of it's not this is a question of opening one's heart towards gaining knowledge, and from there they get the higher realization, and more they become pure, they get spiritual realizations also. This is a material information, but they can get spiritual realization. Then there is how when the ego starts, there is a radical change in ego, that I changed into I belong to somebody. No, for that we need parampara. We need a living spiritual master. It is impossible to change our ego by reading books. Our ego will remain with us, will not gain anything, no spiritual knowledge. That is why it is very important. The nature of our ego is it is uh, it is so much very solid, and it's not question of some mechanical information. It is very Ishwaroham, Aham Bhogi, Siddhoham Balavanski. This is what is our ego presently. Our ego, how we project ourselves in this world. This is our ego. And Ishwaroham means I am, who am I? I am the boss, the Lord. There should be a certain area of my influence that is called Ishwaraha. There should be certain Aham. And aham bhogi means I am the enjoyer. I have control on somebody, I have rule over somebody, and I have enjoyer. And siddhoham means I am successful. This is the very essential part of ego presently. And everybody should feel I have achieved success, and no matter the main thing is I have achieved whatever. Siddhoham Bhalavan Sukhi, and I'm very happy also. Now, this is what is the state of our ego. And now, from this, we have to change. That is why we need gurus. That's why Ritviks cannot understand. If somebody follows Ritvik philosophy, the problem is their ego cannot be developed because they don't have a living guru. Especially the top people. People down, there is some hope for them because at least they are following some authority. Even Ritvik also, what happens is people who come new, they will accept the preacher as their master and they will do whatever the preacher is telling. At least they have somebody above them. It is a little safe only. At least ego is telling, yeah, yeah, he's my master. So he's having that type of ego as well. But the people on the top directly follow Prabhupada. Then they don't have living guru. Then it is a problem for ego to grow. It will just remain Ishwaroham aham bhogi, Siddhoham balavan sukhi. Now, this ego stays with us. All that we do, the procedures are relying on the fundamental. We just rely on our ego only. Whatever we want. This is what is happening to most of the people. Now, what happens in devotional service also, people come, whatever we want it or not, it is still there in devotion if they don't have a proper spiritual master. At least they want to have a living spiritual master, that is also safe. But if they say, I don't want any living spiritual master, that is a problem. Because there is a desire to want to become the Ishvara, want to be enjoyer. What does it mean? It means that Siddhoham Balavan Sukhi, I am successful, I am happy, I am strong, I am so and so. This is our image. Now, how can we focus our mind on Krishna with such an ego? It is not possible. Because the first thing we say to Krishna is that we are Ishvara. And now we And this is what is people chant. They are chanting not only 16 notes, they also chant I am the enjoyer. Because living guru makes us humble. They say, oh, I am not the master, I am just for my guru only. Whatever he is telling, I have to do it. I have to do it for him. That's why Vyas Puja is very important for our spiritual master, for Prabhupada. It reminds us that, yes, I am meant for somebody else. And now what happens? It turns out that oh, I am not Ishwar, I am servant only. And not only the first servant, more we understand I am servant of servant of servant. Then it becomes more divine. This is what is needed. And any like all the relationship. Like people say that okay, I'll go to spiritual world, be with Krishna, this material world, it's all bogus place. But if we cannot even properly maintain these material relationships, not develop a proper material, we cannot develop permanent spiritual relationships. That is the point. Why Krishna arranged all these people around us? He wants us to teach. First, learn to serve all these people around you. Then you will be able to serve me in the spiritual world. If you are not able to serve these people around you, which are temporary things also you cannot do properly, then how can you get a permanent good relation with me? That is not possible. This is when we start developing this mood of servant that okay, the first servant would be someone somewhere else. Uh, that means I have to serve, and then what happens? Mind becomes chaste. If I learn this servant of servant attitude, mind becomes chaste, mind can be focused, and This is actually what is real ego. Then mind will not get distracted anywhere. When we go to spiritual world, the password is only one thing. Trinada pisuni chena taroriva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. This is the password. I don't want any respect. I just want to serve only. But if I have the same ego left, Ishwaro Hambhogi, Siddho Hambalo Ansukhi, then how will I think of Krishna? I'll never be able to think of Krishna. I'll always think about myself only. And I'll continue my career as God. This is actually what is happening in the. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada is he is trying to reset our consciousness from the beginning. So we will just read some points on the purport. Now, here Parikshit Maharaj is further asking, any questions, comments till now? We'll go ahead. We'll just read some purport. They're also very important. And Prabhupada he's trying to set our consciousness in the purports. It is very important that we try to understand what Prabhupada is trying to help us understand. Kindly describe how the Supreme Lord, who is all powerful, engages his different energies and different expansions in maintaining and again wind up the phenomenal world in the sporting spirit of a player. Lord, it is Leela only. Even if he's creating like small children, they don't have anything to do. 2, 3 year old, they just when they're hungry, they go and eat, and mother will take care of remaining things. And whole day they play only. It's Leela only because they need not work anything. They don't have to achieve anything, and they don't have to gain anything, and they don't have to worry about anything. Then what they do? They whole day they play. Same thing with the Lord only. Nothing to achieve, nothing to gain, nothing to worry about. What he does? He only plays. This phenomenal material creation is also his play only. Prabhupada says in Katha Upanishad 2.2.13, the Supreme Lord is described as the chief eternal being among all other eternal individual beings. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetanam. And the one Supreme Lord who maintains innumerable other individual living beings. Eko Bahu Nam Yo Vidadati Kaman. So all living entities, both in the conditioned state and the liberated state, are maintained by the Almighty Supreme Lord. Such maintenance is effected by the Lord through his different expansions of self and three principal energies, namely the internal, external, marginal energies. The living entities are his marginal energies, and some of them, in the confidence of the Lord, are entitled with the work of creation also, as are Brahma, Marichi, etc. And the acts of creation is inspired by Lord unto them. Tene Brahma Hridaya. The external energy Maya is impregnated by the Jiva with the Jivas or conditioned souls. The unconditioned marginal potency acts in the spiritual kingdom, and the Lord, by his different plenary expansions, maintains them in different transcendental relations displayed in the spiritual sky. So the one supreme personality of Godhead manifests himself in many, Bahushyama, and thus all diversions are in him, and he is in diversities, all diversities, although he is nevertheless different from all of them. That is inconceivable mystic power of the Lord, and such everything is simultaneously with and different from him by his inconceivable potency. Achintya Beda Beda Tattva. This is actually what the Lord engages his energies for his pleasure. It's all his Leela. And he engages some very confidential people trusted like Brahma, Marichi for his creation, even though it is all him, but still he expands. That's why it is not different from him and different also. That is what Asincha Beda Vedatta. Nunam Bhagavato Brahmam Harit Adbhuta Karmanaha Dhaurabhyam Iva Bhati Kavibhischapi Cheshtitam. He says, O learned Brahmana, the transcendental activities of the Lord are all wonderful, and they appear inconceivable because every great endeavor by many learned scholars has still proved insufficient for understanding them. Now, Prabhupada writes that now he's telling that Lord's activities are wonderful, they appear inconceivable, even to learned people also. This is what Parikshit Maharaj says. But still he's telling, okay, I'll also try to understand whatever you tell me. Because even it is said, even Krishna cannot understand Krishna's glories because he's Lord. Then how we can understand? But we will understand something because it helps our mind to concentrate on the Lord. Prabhupada, like the acts of the Supreme Lord in the creation of just this one universe appears inconceivably wonderful. And there are innumerable universes, and all of them aggregate together are known as the created material world. And this part of this creation is only a fractional portion of the complete creation. The material world stands as part only. Ekam Shena Sthito Jagat. Just one amsha of the Lord is whole material world. Supporting the material world is a display of one part of his energy. And the remaining three parts consist of Vaikuntha Jagat, or spiritual world described in Bhagavad Gita as Madhama or Sanatana Dhama, or eternal world. We have marked in the previous verse that he creates and again winds up the creation. This action is applied only in the material world because the other greater part of his creation, namely the Vaikuntha world, is neither created nor annihilated. Otherwise, the Vaikuntha Dham would not have been called eternal. The Lord exists with his Dhamma, his eternal name, qualities, pastimes, entourage, and personality. All are a display of his different energies and expansions. The Lord is called Anadi, or having no created, and Adi, or the origin of all. Now, this nice point, Rupa says, we think in our own imperfect way that the Lord is also created, but Vedanta informs us that he is not creator, rather, everything is created by him. Narayana Parovekta. Therefore, for the common man, these are all very wonderful matters for consideration. Even for great scholars, they are inconceivable, and thus such scholars present theories contradictory to one another. Even for the insignificant part of creation, this particular universe, they have no complete information as how far this limited space extends, or how many stars and planets there are, or the different conditions of those innumerable planets. Modern scientists have insufficient knowledge of all this. Some of them assert that there are 100 million planets scattered all over the universe. In a news release from Moscow dated February 21st, 1960, the following piece of knowledge was relayed. Russia's well known professor astronomer, this is Boris Voronezhov, he said that there must be an infinite number of planets in the universe inhabited by beings endowed with reason. It could be that life similar to that on Earth flourishes on such planets. Doctor of Chemistry Nikolai Joryev, covering the problem of atmosphere on other planets, pointed out that the origin of Martina, for instance, could very well adapt itself to normal existence with a low body temperature. He said that he felt that the gaseous composition of Martian atmosphere was quite suitable to sustain the life of beings which have been adapted to it. This adaptability of an organism to different varieties of plants is described in Brahma Samhita as Vibhuti Vinnam. That is, each and every one of the innumerable plants within the universe is endowed with a particular type of atmosphere, and how advanced the living beings on each planet are in science and psychology depends on the atmosphere. Vibhuti means specific powers, and Bhinnam means variegated. Scientists who are attempting to explore outer space are trying to reach other planets by mechanical arrangements must know for certain that organisms adapted to the atmosphere of Earth cannot exist in the atmosphere of other planets. This is from Easy Journey to Other Planets. One has to prepare himself, therefore, to be transferred to the different planets after being relieved of the present body, as it is said in Bhagavad Gita. Yanti devata devan pitru yanti pratipatam bhutani yanti bhutejya yanti majjhajanopima. Maharaj Parikshit's statement regarding the working of certain energy of the Lord discloses that he knows everything of the process of creation. Why then did he ask Sukadeva Goswami for such information? Maharaj Parikshit, being a great emperor, a descendant of the Pandavas, and a great devotee of Lord Krishna, was quite able to know considerably about the creation of God, but that much knowledge was not sufficient. He said, therefore, that even greatly learned scholars fail to know about it, even after great effort. The Lord is unlimited and his activities are also unfathomable. This is the reason Parikshit Maharaj want to know. Already he knows, but still he feels that I need to know more. With a limited source of knowledge and with imperfect senses, any living being up to the stand of Brahmaji, the highest perfection living being within the universe, can never imagine knowing about the unlimited. Because Lord is unlimited, his creation is also unlimited. We cannot know about it. We can know something of the limited when it is expanded by the limited, as has been done by the Lord Himself in the unique statements of Bhagavad Gita, and it can also be known to some extent from realized souls like Sukadeva Goswami, who learned it from Vyasadeva. That is the way we should. Yata gunamstu prakritir yuga yugapat karmashopi va vibhrakti bhurishas ekaha kurvan karma ani janmabihi. He says the personality of God it is one. Whether he is alone acts with the modes of mental nature or simultaneously expands different forms or expands conse- consecutively to direct the modes of nature. And then he asks further, kindly clear up all these doubtful inquiries because you are not only vastly learned in Vedic literature and self-realization and transcendent, but also a great devotee of Lord and are therefore as good as the personality of Godhead. Now, this is a big purport. This is a nice. Prabhupada writes, in the Brahma Samhita, it is said the supreme absolute truth Govinda, the personality of Godhead, although one without a second, is infallibly expanded by innumerable forms, non-different from one another, and although he is original person, is still uh, every young with is still ever young with permanent youthful energy. Is very difficult to know simply by learning the transcendental science of the Vedas, but is very easily realized by its pure devotees. This is some simple purports you can read. We'll go to next. But the conclusion is therefore that a serious devotee must first approach a spiritual master. This is the conclusion of this whole chapter only. The conclusion is that a serious devotee must first approach a spiritual master who not only well versed in Vedic literature, but is also a great devotee with factual realization of Lord and his different energies. Without the help of such a devotee spiritual master, then cannot make progress in transcendental science of the Lord. That means we need a living guru only. That is very important. Or we have to hear from a living person, and that is how it will help us because we will understand I am servant. That is the most important thing. That if you don't have a living person, we cannot get that realization that I am servant. Our ego will remain intact. This is the problem. If our ego don't touch, it is not changed, then we'll be in trouble. We cannot make any progress only. We just remain Ishwaroham Yogi. That is the point here. That's why Prabhupada is telling a serious devotee must first approach a spiritual master who not only was versed in Vedic literature but is also a great devotee with factual realization of Lord and his different energies. Without the help of such a devotee spiritual master, one cannot make progress in the transcendental science of the Lord. And a bona fide spiritual master like Sukadeva Goswami does not speak about Lord only in the matter of his internal potencies, but also explains how he associates with his external potencies. So both things are needed, not only just Krishna's internal dealings, that is in the 10th canto, but his external. Prabhupada says the Lord's pastime in the internal potency are displayed in his activities in Vrindavan, but the works of his external potency are directed by his speeches of Karanadakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Ksharadakshay Vishnu. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur offers his good counsel to the interested Vaishnavas when he says that they should not be interested in hearing only about Lord activities in Vrindavan like Ras Leela, but must be keenly interested in his pastimes in his features of Purushavasaras in connection with Srishti Tattva, creational functions following the example of Maharaj Parikshit. So, this is the point. Without knowing who is Krishna, we cannot understand his Leela. That is the point. We need to do all this homework. We need to do this sadhana. We need to do this hard work before going to 10th canto to understand what is Ras Leela. We just directly hear Krishna's pastime, it won't affect much. Many people hear, so many Bhagavad Kathas are happening. Many people are hearing, but there is no change in the people's life because they didn't go through the systematic study. Everybody has to go to the systematic study. They may not do the way we are doing, but they have to do some systematic of Bhagavatam to understand that. Otherwise, their understanding will be incomplete. There will be some rasabas, there will be some just some sentimental, some emotional state. They are not really understanding what is Krishna. They need to go through Bhagavatam, every shloka, try to understand. Even if they didn't understand it, they made an endeavor to understand, then Krishna will be pleased and he will reveal. Otherwise, some may have done in past life, some may are doing now, but they have to do it. Some may already got that realization. That is because they have gone through that homework in the previous life, and then they can continue this life. They may be reading some other higher literatures. It's not that they didn't do. Like Radha Govind Maharaj, and they have read how many number of times, anything they can. And then what happens at the end of life? If we have so much read Bhagavatam, we only remember Bhagavatam because it goes directly to the soul. Everything forget. Like Radhagovind Maharaj, now some devotee says, Maharaj sometimes don't remember us. But Bhagavatam, everything he remembers in Bhagavatam. Nothing is lost from Bhagavatam for him. He just tells some shloka, he will just continue and you can tell everything. And sometime in the middle of night, he wakes up some devotee and says, read Bhagavatam. And 4 hours he's just hearing Bhagavatam. It's completely blissful. He may not remember other things. He's not remembering some people, but he's remembering Bhagavatam. That is because it is directly from soul. And this is what is needed for all of us. At the end, you go systematically, work very hard, Bhagavatam, that only registers. Like one lady, one devotee was telling, his grandmother died, and she don't recognize anybody. She lost all her memory. Only one thing is there. She remembers whole Ramayana. That's all. You just give it one shloka in the beginning. She tells all shlokas, whatever she remembers. Only thing she's remember is Ramayana. She don't know anybody. She did not recognize anybody. Whole while cooking in the chair, they were not having any smartphones or books or anything. They just heard from whoever village gurus or somebody is there. They just heard the Ramayana and while cooking, while doing this to chant, 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 and that's all. That is what is there. Yeah, everything that Lord is doing and his devotees, that is actually what is uh, special. We have to learn this. We have to learn this. We just have to focus on hearing Bhagavatam. One day that will stick to our consciousness and we'll only speak that. Otherwise, so many other problems will come. Now we hear. Now Suta Goswami says, while Sukadeva Goswami was thus requested by his king to describe the creative energy of personality of Godhead, he then systematically remembered the matter of the senses and to reply properly, he spoke thus. Prabhupada writes, the devotee of light, while delivering speeches and describing transcendental attributes of the Lord, do not think that they can do anything independently. This is the point. Now, what happens is Sukadeva Goswami starts doing his Mangalacharan. Now he starts offering prayers. Previously, he was so enthusiastic, so happy with the question. He directly started answering. Now, again, Parikshit Maharaj asked the question. Now he is not answering immediately. Now, what he does? He does Mangalacharan. He offers prayers. And that's what Prabhupada is telling, that a devotee do not think that they can do anything independently. They think that they can speak only what they are induced to speak by the Supreme Lord, the master of the senses. The senses of the individual being are not his own. The devotee knows that such senses belong to the Supreme Lord and that they can be properly used when they are employed for the service of the Lord. The senses are instruments and elements are ingredients, all endowed by the Lord. Therefore, whatever an individual can do, speak, see, etc., is under the direction of Lord only, and Bhagavad Gita confirms this. Sarvasya chaham iti sannivishto mattasmatir jnanam pohanam cha. No one is free to act freely and independently, and as such, one should always seek the permission of Lord to act or eat or speak. And by the blessings of Lord, everything done by the devotee is beyond the principles of the four defects typical to the conditions. Now, this is a very important series, very nice prayers by Sukadeva Goswami. This is where he starts his prayers, and very nice prayers he offers. This is very interesting concepts also which he clears. And in Vallabh Sampradaya, before Bhagavatam class, they recite these prayers because this is Mangalacharan of Sukadeva Goswami. They say that we do Mangalacharan, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva and other Narayanam Namaskrincha. But they do this also as their Mangalacharan before giving Bhagavatam class. It says Sukadeva Goswami said, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who, for the creation of material world, accepts the three modes of nature, is the complete whole, residing within the body of everyone, and his ways are inconceivable. There are two, 3 points from the what we understand from these prayers. Tomorrow I will elaborate. We will just try to read some purports and then tomorrow I'll explain what is the logic. Of course, we cannot understand so much logic, but some logical sequence from Sukadeva Goswami's prayers. What is exactly he meant by these prayers? He says that Prabhupada writes, now first thing he is telling is, I want to offer obeisance to Lord. Who is this Lord? For the who, for the creation of material world, accepted the three modes of nature. Means he is controlling, he is maintaining them. He is complete whole, residing within the body of everyone. Second thing, and he is inconceivable. Oh, these are the 3 points he says. And Prabhupada writes, the material world is manifested by three modes of material nature. And Supreme Lord for the creation, maintenance, destruction of material world accepts three predominating forms of deities. So this is what is meant by who accept the three modes of nature. What does Sukadeva Goswami means that he accepted means he is taking the form of Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva for maintenance, creation, and destruction. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, President Reference. Prabhuji, can you please elaborate on this point, Prabhuji? Accepting three modes, for that he takes three guna avatars. I just want to understand this still deeperly, Prabhuji. Can you please elaborate on this?
Yeah,
What does
accept
it really means?
is accepting that modes to utilize them in doing all these activities. You are accepting means you are engaging them.
Mm.
Okay, this person is coming. Okay, I'll take this person in my team so that with this person I can do something. Accepting means you are not that I have to become like them. Accepting means you are accepting in the team. You are accepting that mode to utilize that mode in the service of Lord. That's all. It's not
Prabhuji, like
by you.
all these three in material world, like there is a destruction, no, Prabhuji. Like in spiritual world, there is nothing like called tamo guna. I mean, all these gunas. So it is there in every activity done by us in the material world, no, Prabhuji. Anything in material world has these three: in creation, maintenance, and destruction, no, Prabhuji here. So, like destruction, does
So
that mean the
everything in
final
this material
destruction
world is done
alone?
by three. I couldn't hear Mataji. Last part what you
Prabhuji,
said.
destruction doesn't mean that final destruction, pralaya alone, no, Prabhuji. Even every activity, in material world, there is a, it's temporary only, no, Prabhuji. There's a destruction, no, Prabhuji, ultimately.
Ah, yes, yes. Now
That's what I
here
want to
the
understand
point is,
this. Hmm.
ah, everything in this material world, uh, everything in this material world is in one way or another. It is all done by three modes only, Mataji. There will be
Hmm.
creation,
Hmm.
maintenance, destruction. It is only
Hmm.
modes. Now I am speaking. There is mode of passion involved. Our
Hmm.
laptops, our mobiles, it's all passion, and there is
Hmm.
ignorance also because it is dull matter. Everything around you are seeing, it's only manifestation of three modes only. Only Prakriti Krimanani only. It is nothing to
Hmm.
do because all these five elements are Tamoguna, the mind is Satoguna, Buddhi is Rajoguna. All these
Hmm.
things, whatever we are seeing around, it's only three modes only that are acting. There is
Hmm.
nothing
Hmm.
acting, and nothing is happening apart from these three modes of mental nature. Only three
Hmm.
modes are manifested, like big cities. It's a manifestation of three modes. Villages,
Hmm.
manifestation of modes. Anything you are seeing around, our house, our thing, it's all three modes only. Prakriti Kriyamanani,
So
Gune
the
Karma.
manifestation of modes means what, Prabhuji? Like that grass matter we are seeing, that
That
one,
is all
Prabhuji?
modes only.
Oh. So
Anything
a
you are
pure
seeing,
devotee will not see anything. I just want to understand, like they are above three modes now, Prabhuji. So how will they visualize everything around us, Prabhuji?
I didn't understand the question. Actually.
The pure devotees, they are above three modes now, Prabhuji. Like they transcended three modes.
Huh.
So is the vision physically also will be changed for them? I just curious to know about that, Prabhuji.
What happens is for them, they are above three mode scenes. They will not get influenced by the three modes. Like
Mm.
now we there is a creation. It does not
Mm.
affect them. There is destruction. That does not affect them. That is
Mm.
how they are. Mamsha abhyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati deta. Sagunan
Mm.
means now what happens is now something is happening and it is a manifestation of modes only. Suddenly some accident happens, some destruction happened. It immediately
Mm.
affects us. But it
Mm.
does not affect for a pure devotee. He understands it's a modes only. Like when Prabhupada was in Mumbai, and then there was some case uh, in America on ISKCON, and then there was so many other some disaster in this place. Some disciples did that. Is that? And at last, one letter comes, and it was such a very terrible news. And then all the devotees, everything went wrong. And then Prabhupada took that letter. He was just seriously looked at it. He went to his room. He locked it. And then devotee was very curious what Prabhupada is doing. And they looked through the that keyhole, one of servant, and he saw Prabhupada is lying on the floor on his back, and he is nicely laughing loudly, and he is very cool.
Oh.
You understand that it's all modes of material nature and Krishna's arrangement. That means they are
Mm.
not affected by what is happening in this material world. We are affected.
Mm.
Suddenly, when bad news come, it is immediately affecting our whole day, sometimes whole week
Mm.
also. But for pure devotees, they are least bothered. Now, why? Because they know it is some manifestation of modes only, Prakriti Krimanan. Because their ego is directly connected to Krishna. Their ego don't get affected. Ahankara vimudhatma karta hamidam. They don't have this problem only. Now,
Mm.
their anger, they can control anger. Prabhupada is suddenly angry and some immediately he's opposite, he's happily talking to somebody, and this side he's showing anger to somebody. He can do both the things parallel. It is not possible for us. Anger means his
Mm.
means
But gross things will be the same, no, Prabhuji. Like that cannot change, no, Prabhuji. The vision of gross things.
they
I mean,
see things
just feel.
only, but they can see their connection. They see like if they are seeing a hoarding of a big movie, we also
Mm.
see the same thing. They also see, but what they see it's a manifestation of passion and ignorance. When Prabhupada went to Boston Harbor, he is seeing from Jaladuta, the city of Boston. Is what he's seeing is seeing, oh, this is a manifestation of passion and ignorance, and he's writing the same song, rajastamo bhave ebe. This is all
Mm.
manifestation of passion and ignorance. How can my message help them? Then he says, Srinvatam Swakata Krishna. Your message will help them. That only can change. Otherwise, with this so much passion and ignorance, how there is a possibility that these people will change? Prabhupada is not seeing the city and the glamour and then all the opulences. He's seeing mode of passion and ignorance. That is a vision of a person who is beyond modes. He don't see things what they are looking. He can see exactly how they are manifested because of the modes.
Prabhuji, and final doubt, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, here we say three doers, no, Prabhuji. Desiring doers, execution doers, and sanctioning doer. Jivatma is a desiring doer, Maya is the execution doer, and Paramatma is sanctioning doer. In spiritual world, Prabhuji, like who is the doer, Prabhuji? There also is Jivatma is doing. Like here we say Ahankara Vimudatma Kartakamiti Manyate. But there, Prabhuji, is it Jivatma doing it again? How to understand our activity in us?
Their
Even
Yogamaya does for them.
only that execution doer is shifting from Mahamaya to Yogamaya.
And then there is no false ego because they are really want to serve Krishna. Here,
Mm.
any activity we are doing, there is always that I need to get some profit, some benefit from it. That's why we are
Mm.
under Mahamaya. But if
Mm.
we don't do any activity for my profit, if I do only for Krishna, then that is Yogamaya acts there because it is for pleasure of Krishna. And
Mm.
that is the only reason of suffering because activities we are doing, when we are doing it to get something for myself, immediately we suffer. But if I don't do it for myself, then I am connected to Krishna. That is spiritual world. That is the main difference. Any
Like,
activity we do for ourselves, it is all punishment.
mm. Technically, Prabhuji, like anywhere here or there, technically only Krishna can make us do, and we can only desire here and there also. Jiva.
Only,
Technically
only
speaking, it is only desire we can do.
yeah,
Action done by Krishna through his energy. And sanctioning also done here. Material world sanction is through Paramatma, and there Krishna direct. Get
direct.
that, Prabhuji?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Here, any activity which we are doing is motivation is wrong. That's why there is punishment. Okay, thank you all very much. Tomorrow we'll meet, and I want to add some more points in this topic of this chapter, especially this chapter. why it is important to how to get connected to the spiritual master. I want to add some more points, and then we will, because if every chapter we I'm taking one theme to make us understand. This chapter theme is spiritual master, we'll see, and I will also explain the prayers of Sukadeva Goswami. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.